I don't know how to explain this, but I'm still in my high school. I should be home by now, but somehow I'm stuck here and nothing feels right anymore. It started innocently enough. I was packing up my bag after my last class, just like every other day. The bell rang and students started filing out, talking about whatever plans they had after school. I grabbed my jacket, said goodbye to a few friends, and made my way toward the stairwell. I figured I'd be home in 20 minutes, just like always, but as soon as I stepped out into the hallway, everything felt off. It wasn't the usual familiar hallway I'd walked 1,000 times. No, this was different. The walls seemed to stretch farther than they should have. The tiles on the floor, ones I'd been walking on for years, looked new, but not in a good way, like they were trying to look older than they were. At first, I thought I was just tired, maybe a little distracted, so I took the stairs down to the ground floor, expecting to see the familiar hallway that led to the front doors. But when I reached the bottom, there was another hallway that I didn't recognize. I stared at it for a moment, trying to make sense of it. There had never been a hallway there before. The walls were lined with old lockers, the kind that were supposed to be gone years ago. I could have sworn I was walking in circles. I started walking down the new hallway, thinking maybe I was just on the wrong floor. But the more I walked, the more I realized this didn't make sense. I was still in the same place, but it didn't feel right. The lockers were all closed, but some of them were slightly ajar, like they hadn't been used in years, and the light flickering above me. It was like the school was glitching, like it wasn't quite real. I walked past the classroom doors. Some of them were cracked open, but there was no noise coming from inside. No students, no teachers, just silence. That's when I ran into someone I knew. It was Jessica from my history class. She looked fine. I mean, she looked the same, but there was something off about her. When I waved at her, she gave me this weird look, like she didn't recognize me. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. There was a blankness in her gaze that made my stomach churn. "Hey Jess," I said, trying to shake off the uncomfortable feeling in my chest. "What's up?" She didn't answer. Instead, she just nodded and walked past me, as if I wasn't even there. I don't know why, but I felt an overwhelming urge to follow her. Maybe I was just trying to make sense of everything. But the more I walked, the more everything felt wrong. I started seeing other faces, students, teachers, but they weren't. They weren't real. They moved like they were going through the motions, but none of them looked like they were actually there, like ghosts in a loop. I went down to the cafeteria to try to clear my head. I figured if I could just get a snack or sit down for a minute, I'd feel better. But when I walked in, it was completely empty. No students, no lunch ladies, just silence. I grabbed a bag of chips from the counter, but the whole place felt cold, sterile. No one was eating. No one was even sitting at the tables. I tried to shake it off. Maybe the lunch period had ended early, I thought. But then the bell rang again, and it wasn't the usual bell. It was deep, echoing through the walls, like it was calling to me. I couldn't take it anymore. I bolted out of the cafeteria, hoping to find the exit, but the doors wouldn't open. The hallway stretched out in front of me, and suddenly I realized I had no idea where I was. Every turn I made just led to another hallway, another set of stairs, another door that wouldn't open. I've walked for hours. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. Hours. I've tried everything. I've gone up, down, tried to retrace my steps, but the school just keeps changing. It's like the walls are shifting, pulling me deeper inside. And the people? They're still here, but they don't act like they used to. They just stare at me, like they're waiting for something. I saw Mr. McCarthy, my old chemistry teacher, near the science wing. He looked exactly the same, but when I asked him where the exit was, he just stared at me with this strange expression, like he hadn't even heard me. Then he pointed down the hallway, but I swear the hallway wasn't there a second ago. I turned to thank him, but when I looked back, he was gone. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if this is some kind of nightmare or if I'm just losing my mind, but I've been trying to get out for hours. I keep opening doors that lead to more hallways, and the more I walk, the more the school feels like it's alive. And the worst part? Every time I look at the clock, time is going by slower. It's almost like the seconds are stretching out, holding me in place. I feel like I'm never going to get out of here. I think something's waiting for me. I don't know what it is, but it's here. It's always been here. And now, I'm just waiting for whatever comes next. I'm not what someone would consider a social butterfly. At best, I had maybe 3 friends as a teenager. 2 of them, Annie and Hannah, were cemented in the reality of my high school. The 3 of us met in detention. Cliché, I know. Me for distributing copies of my homework for money, and them for, well, PDA. My school wasn't what you would consider the most forward-thinking. Although Annie, Hannah, and I were close, Chasm was, without a doubt, my best friend in every sense of the word. We hung out every day for 3 to 4 hours, after school playing Elder Heroes, a competitive team-based shooter game where each player fills a different role: healer, tank, damage, or hybrid. I played damage, and he filled healer. It worked great. He made sure our team didn't die, and I protected him from our opponents. Anytime I defeated an attacker, Chasm screamed into his microphone, "Good old bloodthirsty Chucky, dicing them up and serving them for stew." My name is Francis Chuck, but I went by Chucky online. If you haven't guessed it by now, Chasm and I never actually met. In fact, to this day, I don't even know his real name. At least I'm not entirely sure. Our relationship was weird, I know. But for someone that never got into social media, it worked for me. At least it did for a while. About a month before summer vacation started, Chasm said something that sticks with me to this day. My folks and I were trying to plan a road trip that would last half of June. I was torn between the mountains in northern Georgia and the beaches in southern Florida, so our goal was to visit as many colleges as possible in those areas. One night, after arguing with my mother over an appropriate major, I was on in Elder Heroes. Enemies fell before me one after another. Every killing shot was an easy flick of my wrist, perfected muscle memory. After several easy wins, while we were waiting on the loading screen, Chasm nonchalantly said, "Chucky, man, imagine if you could do this in the real world. We'd be unstoppable." "What are you talking about?" I asked, laughing a little. "Killing isn't only fun in video games," he said. "To be honest, it's probably more fun when it's for real." "Stop shitting with me," I told him. A chill crept up my spine. "I'm not. You should try it sometime." He paused. "It really gets the blood flowing." "Shut up, bro." I knew he was messing with me, but hearing someone you're close friends with talk casually about murder can be somewhat unnerving. "Only speaking the truth," Chasm said, stifling laughter. I could hear his chuckles through my headset. I rolled my eyes. "Whatever, dude. Let's kick some ass." We had found a game. That was the last time I ever played with Chasm. A week after my parents and I got back from the college road trip, a news story came out detailing a series of killings that had occurred in the next town over. There were 9 bodies in total. The remains, if what was left could be considered that, were found in various pots and pans throughout the murderer's house. Whoever it was, ate their victims. In the news story, they described a recipe taped up in the killer's kitchen. It was titled Chucky's Stew, and detailed the best method of dicing up a person and creating a stew with their pieces. It's been 3 years, and the killer was never found. I'm about to enter my junior year of college, currently pre-med, and am expected to graduate on time with honors. I still play Elder Heroes, though not as much as I used to. The urge to play dwindled as I got older, but I always tried to make time for at least an hour every night. Maybe Chasm would be on, and maybe we could talk about making stew. I've learned a lot since then. I'm a math teacher in a small-town high school. Among my students, there was one unusual boy named Tommy. He was quiet, never spoke, and didn't mingle with other students. Yet, he always scored perfect in all tests. One day, out of curiosity, I tried to engage Tommy in a chat, but he quickly walked away without saying a word. He had a certain coldness about him, which was quite off-putting. I decided to get in touch with his parents. However, the school records had no contact information for them. I found it strange, but shrugged it off as a clerical error. Cryptic aura around Tommy piqued my curiosity. I tried asking around town about him. Everyone's answer was surprisingly the same. No one knew him or his family. One day, at a local diner, old Martha, an aging, longtime resident, known for her sharp memory, overheard me talking about Tommy. She beckoned me over, a worried expression on her face. She claimed that there was a Tommy fitting my description who used to live in town, but he had died in a car crash 15 years ago. My blood ran cold. Everything around me began to spin. Was it possible that my student was a ghost? I returned to school the next day with a lump of fear in my throat. I kept my distance from Tommy, who appeared normal as ever, acing his math test. Somehow, this normalcy sent shivers down my spine. I started digging through the old school records, which were in a chaotic state. After days of searching, I found what I was looking for, a yearbook from 15 years ago. There was Tommy, looking identical. The caption under his picture read, "In loving memory of Tommy, who left us too soon." I was scared, but decided to confront Tommy. After the class, I asked him to stay back. He didn't move or speak. He was just there, standing, looking at me with blank eyes. I asked if he had died 15 years ago. Tommy smiled a sad, chilling smile and said, "Yes, but I had never been good at math. I wanted to learn it properly." Frightened and speechless, I saw him walk out of the room, disappearing into the crowd of students in the hallway. He never came to my class after that day. I told my story to a few colleagues. Some thought I was joking. Others believed I was hallucinating. But old Martha believed me. We decided to hold a small memorial for Tommy by the tree in the school grounds. It was our way of telling him it was okay to move on. Since then, I've never encountered anything supernatural. But Tommy's incident etched a lasting impression on me. In silent nights, when I'm all alone, grading papers, I can still feel a cold breeze and see a faint reflection of a boy smiling at me from the empty desks. The experience was a grim reminder. Not all our students carry the weight of their backpacks. Some of them carry the weight of their souls, caught between worlds, unready for the adventure ahead.